Okay, so we read, I think, four verses yesterday. So we'll read other few verses. This is did we read third and fourth verse? I don't know if we did.
Yes, Prabhu, we read that. We need to start fifth verse.
Fifth verse, okay. So this verse describes the qualifications of those who can go to the spiritual world. What are the qualifications? What are the qualities of the person who can go back to the spiritual world?
Detachment from the material world
Hmm.
and attachment to the Krishna.
Yeah. So I'll read the verse. You can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhu.
Nirmanamoha chitasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandve vimukta sukha dukkha sangne gacchantyamuda padam avyayam tat. Nirman. Man means respect or prestige. Nirmans mean those who are free from false prestige. Means they are humble. The humble and meek will inherit the kingdom of God. Nirman, those who are not puffed up, those who are not proud. Nirmana, moha, moha means illusion. So those who are free from false prestige, illusion. Jita Sangha dosha, they have conquered over the faults of bad association, or those who are free from false association. Adhyatma, Adhyatma means spiritual knowledge. Adhyatmik Gyan we say. Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kamaha. And those who are Nivritta means detached or free from Kamaha, lust. Dvandver, those who are Dvandva is the dualities. And Vimukta means free from the dualities of this material world. Sukha Dukkha Sangne. In Sukha and Dukkha, freed from the dualities of Sukha and Dukkha, happiness and distress, who unbewildered, Amuda. Amuda means unbeliever, unbewildered. Gachanti means to go. Amuda, those who are not bewildered. Padam avyayam tat. Avyayam means eternal, inexhaustible. They can go. And yeah, this is what this verse is saying. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, and who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So, nirmana, free from false prestige, illusion, false association, done with material lust, freed from dualities of happiness and distress. In this world, there is happiness and distress. On the material platform, they are freed from that. They can surrender to Krishna. They attain to the eternal kingdom. Okay, so we can read the purport. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is one should not be deluded by pride. Because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the Lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's thinking, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. He's puffed up. One should know by cultivation of real knowledge that he is not the Lord of material nature. So, for some time, Krishna allows us to play and we feel like we are in control. But then, after that, everything falls apart. As old age arrives, disease comes, then we know, yeah, things are not under my control. For some time, we have, some good health and like that, and things go according, and that also, even if you have good health, everything doesn't go according to your desire. So, is there anybody here whose life went exactly according to how they desired? No. So there is always unfulfilled desires. So we know we are not in charge, although we want many things, but things may happen, things may not happen. Right? It's not a given. So we are not in control. And there are many factors beyond our control. We have control, but little control. Like mind also, you can't control. Right? The mind is also, when we want to chant, then so many other thoughts are coming automatically in the mind. You want to chant and hear, and other thoughts are coming in the mind. So, but yeah, slowly and gradually by practice, we can become. So one should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. So our body and mind are also not in our control. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. So when we realize that, yes, I'm helpless, then I can surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Because then for one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. So we are all expecting honor. So yeah, we have self-respect and things like that. So only if you're not expecting honor, then you can surrender. That means Prabhupada is saying like that. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. Yeah, life is temporary. And we come here for some time and then we think, oh, this is my country, I should expand, like Putin is thinking. Now Ukraine should be part of Russia. He is not going to stay, but he's thinking like that. Okay, that this country should be part of this country, my country. We are only temporarily here, but we think, yes, I'm the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated and is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression that I and mine. Janasya mohayam aham mameti. I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. Because the land was there before I was born, now I'm saying this is my land, but I can't keep it with me and then I die. The land will still be there. So I'm not the proprietor. Because proprietorship means you have control and also ownership always. It's not like one day you get something and next day it's gone. So are you really the proprietor? I mean, you get it and it's gone. So it's not like one day I give you some car and the next day it's a rental car you use for 4 or 5 days and then you have to return it. So body is like that also. So Prabhupada is trying to inspire like detachment from the conception that I and mine. Because we also said we came naked, we go naked. So, so not even single penny you can take with you in this world with you. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all false associations caused by familial, social, and national affections. Since I don't belong to anybody, I belong to God. I belong to Krishna. I don't belong to this family. I don't belong to this nationality. This faulty association binds one to this material world. So when we become free from all these upadhis, Jiva Krishna Das Ei Vishwas Karle to ar dukha nahi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if you realize that I am soul, I am servant of Krishna, then there is no more misery. This faulty associations bind one to this material world. We want a sense of identity. So that's why we identify, we form parties, we form groups and communities, nationalities, because we need a sense of belonging. So the real sense of belonging is that I belong to Krishna. Mamevamsho jiva loke. And everybody else belongs to Krishna. So like that. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. Somebody like to say something? Okay. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge, and then it is possible for him to surrender to the supreme personality of God. So he is not trying for anything in this world to possess, because everything will be lost in just a matter of course we want to be comfortable, that's why we can be comfortable to a certain extent. We can have house and this and that, but beyond that, knowing that I'm getting a comfortable situation to progress in bhakti, that's the main thing. Like we say, give the example that if you're seated in a AC compartment of a Rajdhani Express, but the train is not moving to its destination, it's just sitting on the platform. You want to go to Delhi from Bombay, and you're in the Rajdhani Express. Let's say there is a Rajdhani Express going, but you are just sitting in the. Then you say, "What is this? Why am I sitting? I want to go to my destination." So most people may want to make a comfortable material situation, but if the train is not moving towards its destination, then what's the use? Life is meant for that. We can make comfortable to some degree, whatever, but the train has to move, and that means we have to chant Hare Krishna. We have to, yeah, surrender to Krishna like that. Okay, so when we go to the spiritual world, how does it look like? What is the qualities? What are the characteristics of such a place? So that's described in text 6. Anybody likes to say anything, you can share anytime. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावका यत् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम paramam mama. So Krishna is saying that abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So going back to the spiritual world, we don't come back here. That we have heard. So there everything is effulgence. Effulgence is due to the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord. and so there is no need for sun. But then we hear in the spiritual world that, or in Vrindavan, that the gopas are praying that the sun may rise early so that they can go to play with Krishna. The gopis are saying maybe the sun sets early so Krishna can come back faster. So maybe it is there, but it is not necessary. Krishna's illuminating everything by his shining effulgence. And those who go there don't come back here in this material world. So I'll read a part of the purport. As long as the living entity is in this dark material world, he is in conditional life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of his coming back here. So, anybody like to come back to this material world?
No, Prabhu. Here is always miseries, unpredictable life, uncontrollable life. And as you said that in the previous verse. And can I share something?
Go ahead.
I was hearing lecture of S.B. Keshav Swami, and he was talking about that. Someone asked the question like, how to deal with the adversities. So he's talking about that, how in the material world, our life is so unpredictable. And he just narrating a story of a lady who came to the like a doctor, and he said that she said that I think I have two frogs in my stomach. And then doctor said that that's not possible. No, but she said that no, I am very convinced. And then doctor says that finally, okay, then you have to go for a surgery. And so he gave some anesthetic, and she was unconscious. And during that time period, he bring two frogs from the pond, and took couple of frogs from the pond. And then doctor said, and after that, when she comes in the conscious state, and she said, then doctor says that yes, you are right, you had two frogs in your stomach, and here they are. So lady said that lady was very happy, and he said that I told you that I have two frogs in my, and she was very convinced that, and she was happy. She go back home, and after a few days she came back again, and doctor asked that now what's the problem. I already took out the frogs. Then she said that I'm convinced that the frog laid the eggs in my stomach. And I mean, this is the interesting story, and she was talking about that it is explained that this world creates a artificial problem and then creates an artificial solution to solve that problem. And interestingly, it's more artificial problems comes after that, and then again more artificial solutions come, and it goes on, and that's how this world perpetuates. It works. Um, Actually, the problem is, if we know that this world is generally people think that controlling the external things, one can remove the anxiety and stress, but external world is unpredictable, which is uncontrollable. It's not in something which is external. We can predict, we can control. Rather than one should work on the internal thing, and which comes you through the spiritual knowledge, because that knowledge gives you a vision to see things differently in a different perspective. There he was, and here he is asking one question. I'm asking here also: what occurs in a minute, an hour, but never in a second? Anybody knows the answer?
What occurs in a minute?
Yeah, what occurs in a minute, an hour, but not in second? Okay, so he was saying that the letter U, I mean, in minutes you say that the letter U comes. In an hour, U comes, but in a second, no U. So actually, he is asking question because that he wanted to explain that solution is when after hearing the question, everybody is thinking about some kind of events like that because it depends on time thing, but solution is simple. The we make so many assumptions of the reality we made, and we begin to think in a very complicated way, and actually the solution is very simple. So that's how we make and we have to take the advantage of the spirituality. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has about he talk about that how the knowledge is. Sometimes he talks about knowledge is like a boat, and he talks about knowledge is like a fire. Knowledge is like a lamp, and knowledge is like a sword. So world is an ocean of misery, but knowledge is like a boat, and who helps across this ocean. And this knowledge helps us to understand that everything is happening in my life is not in my control, and but there is always something positive in my life. Whatever in happening, it's when you are in this that knowledge, when you that in the spiritual knowledge, then we can understand that not everything happening in my life is good. However, something good can come from from everything happen in my life. So this mindset comes when we situated in the boat of knowledge, and the whether otherwise this in this world there's a lot of miseries, a lot of things comes up. There's every step a danger and distress and happiness, and if we don't have this knowledge, then this world drowning us, and most of the time most of the people is drowning. So it's like a story that one disciple asked to his guru then how to overcome the adversities. So he said that bring 3 cups of boiling water, and the guru is put in first cup he put a potato, and take and take out after some time, then it falls apart. So he said that some people are like that, they falls apart when the adversities comes in their life. And then second cup he puts the cotton, which is very soft, fluffy. But after putting in the water and he take this out from after some time, then he become like a shrunken, it's hard. So he says that sometime when the adversities comes in the people's life, they become like that. They disconnect oneself from the world, and kind of they shrunk and they become their heart becomes hard because they always think that this adversities comes in my life. And some people think that why the bad things happens to good people. So it's like, and the third in the what in the third a cup, he puts some herbs, and in that boiling cup, and there's a fragrance comes out. So he said like be like that. When the adversities comes in our life, then we should be taken advantage, because we are, if someone is fulfilled with that knowledge, and you can apply that knowledge in that situation, then you shine more, you grow more, your fragrance, your every can experience that. So one should be like that when the something comes, the adversities comes, which we can't control in your life. There are many things in our life which we can't control, but we can control our internal. So yes, that's what he is talking about.
Yeah, to control the internal uh, means our mind is difficult, but we have to practice and
Mhm.
engage the mind. So, in positive things, Krishna's service, like that, Krishna, to keep the mind busy also in good association. So then the mind will not give us trouble also, right? We have to have good association, devotees.
Yes, bro. That's what Avanti Brahmana said, that mind is the cause of our disturbance, right? Uh, I mean, mind imagine things, right? Sometimes I have experience in my personal, like, if something comes up, there's so many things, our emotions, future, past. It takes, like, it's a very imaginary, magnifying that problem a lot. And let's say someone is sick in the family, or someone is like that, but is there something that you can do for, like, as a devotee, you can do like eternal benefit for that person? What else externally we can do? We can help, we can share the feelings, the emotions. We can give, like, external comfort, either health care or something like that. What else one can do? uh, it's only we can pray that the who is the supreme controller, who can help, you know through that situation, the strength and all that.
Yeah, there are varieties of miseries, and one of them is due to the mind.
Right.
So,
We can see your screen, bro.
yeah, 1 minute. What happened? So there is a flow chart, right? You have a problem in life. Remember that flow chart that Gaur Gopal Babu, I think he was showing. Are you doing something about it? Then why worry? Something.
Yes, I have that.
See, I can pull it up. Of course, this is there, but it's like, okay, so let's see, analyze this. Why you never have to worry? Do you have a problem in life? Okay, what happened? Do you have a problem in life? No. Then why worry? This no is like everybody has a problem. But of course, we may think, I have no problem. But the real problem is birth, death, old age, disease. So if you don't know this problem, then you have a problem. But everybody has a problem in life with death. But for temporary, you may not have a problem. But the bigger problem is there. Death is going to come, old age, disease. So then why worry? You have a problem in life? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then why worry? So, can you do something about it? Yes, we can all do. But the problem is when we know we can do something about it and we are not doing it. That causes also worry. So we are not, like, let's say, I know theoretically that, okay, chanting the holy name will give me love of Krishna and take me out of the cycle of birth and death. Yes, I know I can do something about it, but I'm not able to do it. That's another thing. You're not able to apply it in your life. Like we all know, Krishna consciousness is the solution to all problems. Of course, there are other problems. We have job problem, we have family problem. So many problems are there. But of course, the root cause, and they may require some health problem. They may require immediate, like, attention. But ultimately, the root cause of all the problem is we came to the material world. That is why we are going through all the problems. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vancha kore, pashate maya tare japotiya dhare. So So another thing is that we get so engrossed in solving the immediate problem we have that we forget why this problem has come. And we solve that problem, we try to solve that problem. And if the problem gets solved, then we are happy till another problem comes. So, like that. So, it is not a foolproof solution. We just try to address the immediate, which we have to do. If you have health issue, then we go to doctor and try to. But why did I get the health problem in first place? Because I have material body and this material mind. So why did I get the health problem? Because I turned away from Krishna, I got a material body. As Rishabh Dev says, this is the, I am thinking this is, he is engaged in sense gratification, but this is the root cause of his misery. So, but we are so conditioned now, so deeply conditioned, that we are thinking, unless I get this sense gratification, I'll never be happy. We have been conditioned in another way. So Krishna consciousness means undoing this conditioning, which is very difficult because the conditioning is very deep. So to undo it, it's not so easy. So can you do something about it? Yes. Then why worry? And if you're doing, then it's okay. But still the problem is not going away. Sometimes you may be doing Krishna consciousness, and then still you may feel like, yeah, the problem is the material desires are still nagging, you know. And oh, I thought by chanting Hare Krishna I'll become free from material desires. But material desires are not going away. They keep coming, coming, coming. And they are nagging me. So, yeah, so that means we have to. Can you do something about it? No, then why worry? Yeah, if you can't do anything about it, then why worry? But the worry is because we can't do something about it. We want to do something about it, but we can't do. Logically, it sounds okay, but we want to be happy. That's why we try to avoid the problem. So it's simplified version, but it's complex than that. Okay.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I read from his book, Gaur Gopal Das Prabhu, and he said that someone, like, this is a poem by some English writer, I guess. He was saying that when upon life's pillows you are tempted, tossed, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost. Count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surpass you what the Lord has done. So basically, he just wanted to say that the gratitude is in a state of being that allows us to see the positive things, and it comes from, like, realizing that there is good in the world, and some of that good is with us also, and those good things are coming from the, like, this, of course, from an external reality, and this state of consciousness imbibes us with positivity. Even in times of difficulty and sorrow, we can feel inner strength when we are grateful for the support. So, I mean, yeah, as you said, that is very difficult when we going through with that situation, and we know theory, but when we not apply in a practical, it's become so difficult, very difficult. Um, but yeah, I mean, we have to somehow, yin kin prakar, and we have to be in that consciousness, be in that situation. As you said that, right, if something is going not well, then there is a line. It says that everything is temporary. This time will gonna change. So if all your happy times are happy times, not stays longer. So the distressful time will not gonna last forever.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Because
that
the body
statement,
will end, right? That's the way to look at it. Like if you're suffering from disease, then yes, it's going to end at some point when you'll die. So that way you can say like that, yeah, it's going to end. Um, and sometimes, distress goes on, goes on, goes on, but everything is temporary. So it will end at some point. So
Right.
it may end like karma changes, then it may end. Or your mental situation changes, how you perceive that situation changes, then it may end also. So it's like that. But it's a tough world. Yeah. And happy situation will also end. We say it is temporary. If we say like that to a happy person, it is temporary, he will be in distress. And if to a distressed person we say it's temporary, he'll be happy. That's the one statement that makes a happy person distressed and a distressed person's happy. So he'll think, yeah, okay, my suffering is going to go. I mean, so many people are suffering in this world. The hospitals are full of patients. The animals who are being slaughtered, they are also suffering. And imagine being on a death row, waiting for your turn to come to be slaughtered. So sometimes they try to escape also. Cows have escaped. They know that my turn is to be slaughtered now. So there is some incident like that. So this is like the situation in this world. And we have to come to enjoy. So as long as the living entity is in this dark material world, is in conditional life, but as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of his coming back here. In his conditional life, the living entity considers himself to be the lord of this material world, but in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full knowledge. So there everybody is so loving. There will be no disagreements. There will be no backbiting, no politics. Everybody will care for you. And people have all the devotees, they're all good qualities in the pure state. Everybody has good qualities, kindness, forgiveness. Of course, there it's a different world. So there we will be always happy eternally. So Prabhupada says that life is there if you surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, the other life is there where you have to struggle for your material desires and try to be happy. So Prabhupada is saying one should be captivated by this information that there is a life which is full of no struggle. And so one should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. This whole chapter is based on this reflection. This banyan tree is the perverted reflection, reflected on the bank of the river. So it reflected on desire, the spiritual world. So this is a false reflection of reality. Or the way we perceive it is false. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually becoming detached. So we are all very attached. And it's very difficult to become detached. We are attached to money, we are attached to our name and fame, we are attached to our prestige, name and fame, we are attached to sense gratification, so many different things we are attached to. So slowly, if we take to Krishna consciousness, slowly we'll become detached. Prabhupada is saying. And that's why it may be many lifetime process. Bahunam janmanamante. Yanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Of course, if we are in the association of those who are surrendered to Krishna, then that will help us. But we are in this association outside where everybody is trying to uh, improve their material condition for sense gratification. Right? Everybody is working hard. So when we are in that association, then we will not get any desire to become renounced, to become detached, because everybody is attached to sense gratification. So how will we get? In Satya Yuga, it was easy to practice spiritual life because the culture was like that. They will meet each other and they'll probably ask, how is your spiritual life going? How is your Krishna consciousness going? Are you able to overcome your material desires? Now, when people meet, do they ask like that? No. How is your Japa going? How is your spiritual life? How are you becoming free from material desires? How is the business of going back home, back to Godhead going on? They will ask, how is your family? How is your job? What is going on in you? That's okay to a certain degree. But that's not the main thing. Because the culture is like that. It's all about material improvement and sense gratification. But if you, in the association of devotees who are very genuine, the goal is how to make spiritual advancement. So, how can I come closer to Krishna? How can I change my consciousness? So, when we are in the association of those and loving association of devotees like that, then we will feel very enthused. So, here it says, one has to associate himself with devotees, those who are in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says this. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. So ISKCON is that society dedicated to Krishna consciousness, but it depends on the temple and the members of the temple, how much they are in that mood. Because temple is not just a structure, it's made up of the people who are living there in the temple and what is their consciousness. So that will actually inspire. Otherwise, there are so many big temples, right, where deity of Krishna is there inside. But that consciousness maybe. So we go to the temple and learn how to discharge devotional service. Or we engage in devotional service. In this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world. One cannot become detached from the attraction of the material world simply by dressing himself in saffron cloth. Yeah, because the internal will not change. Even if you put outside a saffron cloth, the internal will not change. Just because you wear whatever cloth you wear. He must become attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, one should take it very seriously that devotional service, as described in the 12th chapter, is the only way to get out of this false representation of the real tree. So only through bhakti we can get out of this banyan tree, which is so complex. In chapter 14, the contamination of all kinds of processes by material nature is described. Only devotional service is described as purely transcendental. So while doing the service also, we should have the proper consciousness that I am doing it to please Krishna. It's an opportunity for me. Like you are saying how we should be grateful. Krishna, I am grateful. Another day you have given me to... I could have died yesterday, but Krishna, you gave me another day to perfect my life, to another day to engage in devotional service, like that. Because when your days are numbered, then each day counts. Right? It's like you have few months left in your life or something like that. Then suddenly time becomes so valuable for you. So it's like that. Our days are numbered. So every day is like a fresh opportunity to again improve our consciousness and engage in devotional service. Again surrender to the Supreme Personal. Yesterday I didn't surrender. Again now I have an opportunity. Krishna is so kind. We are living every day. That's also like we have our eyes. Like ask those people who don't have eyes. For them, the main thing they want in life is that, oh, if somehow I can get eyes, if I had eyes, it would be so nice. And here we have eyes, and we are thinking, I want something else. Right? So we are not grateful that Krishna has given me the eyes. Krishna has given me these ears. Krishna has given me this body, human form of life. So when the gratitude becomes too much, then you want to reciprocate. Like how much Krishna has done for me. And then when you feel like that, then you say, what can I do for Krishna in return? Unless you are totally, generally we take things for granted. We think, yes, I have eyes, that is, everybody has eyes, so what is there? But ask those who don't have eyes, there are many blind people. So there are many people who can't speak. So, of course, they can also become Krishna conscious. It's not like that. But this is, and that's why karma is also very tricky. You never know what karma is in store for you as life goes on. This life may be good, next life, what karma brings. Like Dhritarashtra got some. So we should be very, we cannot put faith in this karma. Because what we have done in so many lifetimes and in this lifetime and how it will change and what situation will come. So we don't know. But with bhakti we can surpass, the difficulties of life. Mat chitta sarva durgani, mat prasadat tarishyasi. Or that other verse where kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkuram sukaram bhavet. Vipritam, what is that? Vipritam.
Vishmrite Vipritam Syat Sri Chaitanyam Namamitam.
Correct.
Is this the one that you're
Yeah,
talking?
correct. Yeah, that's the one. So basically,
Things
this we,
becomes difficult things becomes easy.
yeah,
Just
Vismrite
remember Chaitanya
Vipritam Sya, Sri Chaitanya Namamitam. So the difficulty may be there, but somehow if we become Krishna conscious, somehow we take shelter of Krishna, then we'll overcome the difficulty. Or the karma will be minimized. So that's the only way. So the difficulty is there. Krishna has created this world as difficult because we can take shelter of him. He wants us to take shelter of him. That's why he has created this difficulty. Otherwise, no difficulty, no shelter. We will not even seek shelter. Krishna has created this world. But we pray to the Lord, take this difficulty away and let me become independent. But actually, it is meant to take shelter. Therefore, one should take it very seriously. The devotional service is described in 12 chapters. The 12th chapter is devotional service. It's the only way to get out of this false representation of the real tree. In chapter 14, the contamination of all kinds of processes by material nature is described. So that is the modes of material nature. The words paramam mama are very important here. Actually, every nook and corner is the property of the Supreme Lord. But the spiritual world is paramam, full of six opulences. The Katha Upanishad also confirms that in spiritual world there is no need of sunshine, moonshine or stars. Na tatra surya bhati, na chandra atarakam. For the whole spiritual sky is illuminated by the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. That supreme abode can be achieved only by surrender and by no other means. And you can surrender when you feel helpless. Krishna, I am helpless against, in this material nature, I am helpless, Krishna. I want to surrender. I have tried, but it didn't work out. And Krishna forces us to be in helplessness. But we may blame the Lord also, Krishna, why you have put me in this helplessness.
So it's better to see Krishna in adversity, right, Prabhu?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
because Krishna makes an arrangement, right? Coming to me, how one can come to me and making me uncomfortable in the world, so I can go back to him. And if no, as you said, that if no adversity is there, then and no difficulty, then there will be no impetus. There will be like the we can like Parikshit Maharaj, right? He was cursed, and then he thought he how he perceived that situation. He thought that today Krishna come to me in the form of the Brahmana boy. Now I have 7 days, and now wrap it up and get out of this world. Because and every time when difficulty come, we have to remember that how long we gonna stay here, keep struggling in this material world. As you said that like there's a lot of miseries, various types of sufferings, our family members, loved ones suffering. We can't even see them, those who are suffering also. That's pain, of course, is not maybe not in our body, but that pain is mentally, emotionally, we are like heartbroken things to seeing the people who are in the pain. So the ultimate solution is a finding solution of this material problem is um, it not gonna work, right? It's an artificial solutions, and this also creates so many other problems. But there is only solution to get out of this world. I mean, we keep trying to find the solution to material problem. How many times we have defeated by Maya? So and how long we gonna stay here and keep struggling? So in every situation, the difficulty, we can remember this. Um, that makes us like a a hope, a positive ray, right?
yeah, that's the Prabhupada says, unless one is pessimistic of this material world, considering the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus to making spiritual advancement. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, Jivana nitya jana sar, tahe nana vidha vipada bhan, namashraya kori jatane tu, thakaha panakaje. Jivana anitya. Know that this life is temporary. Jivana anitya. As in COVID also, so many people died and so many people are dying every day. Jivana anitya janaha sar. Know this essence that this life is temporary. Tahe nana vida vipada bhan. And it is filled with various kinds of vipada, dangers. Nana means many. Bhar means burden. नामाश्रय कोरी जतन तुम्ही थाका आपन काजे. Take the shelter of the holy name, Namashraya Kori, as your only business and get out of this. It is also said um, the holy name can wipe out all sins. So we should chant very nicely, attentively. This holy name can wipe out all our sins and it can give love of God also. कलेर दोषे निधे राजन नस्ति ही एको महान गुणा कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्त संग परम भजित. So this is Bhagavatam. We have to believe the words of the Bhagavatam scriptures like that. That by chanting the holy name, and of course, chanting means we are also saying, Krishna, please engage me in your service, and whatever service we can do according to our ability to push on this movement. Like there is deity worship, there is Pancharatrika Vidhi, and there is Bhagavad Vidhi. So whatever we can do, either in the Pancharatrika Vidhi or Bhagavad Vidhi, so that can be done like that. So let me share something. Bhakti Vikas Maharaj sent me. The neophyte should also read and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If we simply try to see and don't listen, the results will not be permanent. Means if we just try to see the deity and don't listen. In some temples there are deities, but no discussion about Krishna. People attend for some time, but after a while they lose interest. Thus there must be two activities. The deities must be worshipped, and this is called Pancharatrika Vidhi. there must also be Bhagavad Vidhi, reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Pancharatri ki Vidhi and Bhagavad Vidhi go hand in hand. By participating in these two processes, the neophyte can gradually attain the intermediate stage. So, worshipping the deity, of course, Bhagavad Vidhi is more important than Pancharatrika Vidhi, but both go hand in hand. So, people come and to see the deity, but they don't sit down to hear the class. Prabhupada is saying. So, after some time, they lose interest because unless the intelligence is convinced, and you cannot really stay steady on this path. That's the problem. If you don't hear regularly, then it will not work. So we have to keep hearing, to and hearing to get convinced. We want to get out of this. Okay, so the next verse, which is famous verse, we'll read this one verse and then Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Krishna is saying, all the jivas are my part and parcel. And they are struggling in this material world with their six senses, which includes the mind. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with six senses, which include the mind. So, actually, there has to be no struggle. But because we are part of Krishna, and Krishna is fulfilling all our needs and everything, but because we are separated from Krishna, that's why there is struggle. Just like a child is in the loving care of the parents, then there is very happy situation. The child decides, okay, no, I will just go on my own and I'll do my thing. Then he has to arrange for his food problem, he has to arrange for his shelter, he has to arrange for his clothing problem. But as long as he's with the father, then all the problems are taken care of. But if he decides to separate, like let's say 10-year-old, 12-year-old child, then now he has to, so we are like that child, separated, so we have got so many problems. Separated in consciousness. We have separated in consciousness from our Supreme Father. It's kind of quarrel. When you quarrel, then your consciousness is different from what the other person's consciousness is. So we are struggling now with the mind and the senses. And this verse defeats Mayavad philosophy because it says Sanatana. We are eternally parts of the Supreme Lord. So we can never become whole. So Krishna is eternal, and Krishna's energy, the Tatashta Shakti, is also eternal. Now, however, all conditioned living entities are unnaturally captivated by Maya. And rather than achieving pleasure, they are forced to struggle and suffer, even as they plan for their elusive future pleasures. So to get some pleasure in this world, you have to struggle a lot. And so this verse hints at the mind's power to determine the living entity's future. Because he's telling the mind. And the next verse continues that thrust, explaining how, determined by his thoughts, a soul attains his next body. Okay, so we will read this. We can read Krishna book. I'll bookmark this. Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Any comments? You heard this few times. Again, we are hearing. So, should we read Bhagavad Gita more or should we read Krishna book? What do you say? We can just go through the
We can read
Krishna book. Okay. All right. So we'll read Krishna book. So Krishna wanted to remove the blot on his reputation, because they were accusing Krishna that Krishna killed Satrajit and he took the jewel. So Krishna wanted to, like, nullify that. So he went in search of the jewel. He went in search of the jewel. Actually, Prasena was killed. And Satrajit thought that because Krishna had asked from him the jewel before, and Satrajit had refused. So now Satrajit is thinking, oh, Krishna wanted the jewel, my brother has been killed, so it must be Krishna who has taken the jewel. So he made like a assumption like that. He did not know that his brother was killed by a lion, and then lion was killed by Jambavan, and then Jambavan had taken the jewel. So, and the rumor was there everywhere that Krishna has killed Prasena and taken away the jewel. So Krishna didn't like that his fame is going down. So he went to search for Prasena, who had the jewel. And then he found that he was killed by lion, and lion was killed by Jambavan, and then he went to see Jambavan. Of course, Krishna already knows, as we were saying yesterday. He doesn't have to, like Ram already knows where Sita is. He doesn't need Sugriva's help and the Vanara's help. But this is like, he's behaving like an ordinary man, so that we can relate to him and we can feel that, okay, there is some, whether Ram will find Sita or not. When the search is going on, then there is some suspense created, and that captures our attention. But otherwise, Ram knows. Ram can kill Ravana in a moment, because he's in the heart. But why he has to rebuild the bridge and all that? This is to create some excitement in the pastime. Just like devotees say, right, that if there was a hero and heroine and there was a happy ending, and then the movie just ends, and nobody is going to come to see the movie. They just sing a few songs. But if there is a villain and they're trying to, so just as a movie has all aspects of emotions, there is some romance, there is some fear. So Krishna is also trying to incorporate that, or because that's how it is, the people have tried to incorporate that in the movies. So all this, that's why Mayavadis can't understand. They think if Krishna is God, why he has to do all these things? God should have no activities, because he knows everything. He knows where it is. Why he has to go in the forest and to find where Jambavan is, and he can directly. First of all, if he wanted the jewel, then he could have bought it immediately. Or he can produce so many jewels. So why Krishna is asking from Satrajit, you give me a jewel? So they can't understand like that. Like Krishna is also asking for us, oh, give me some flower, give me some fruit. As if he's in need of it. He's not in need of it. Because he's Atmaram. But he's asking so that we can show some love by that. So he's not wanting a flower. So like that is in bhakti. If we take the bhakti perspective, then we can understand why Krishna is doing, is to increase our absorption in him. So he went inside the cave, Krishna went, and there he saw the son of Jambavan playing with the jewel, and there was a nurse who was taking care of the child. She saw Krishna come in the cave, and she cried out because she thought Krishna is going to take away the jewel. Hearing the nurse's cries, Jambavan appeared on the scene in a very angry mood. Jambavan was actually a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but because he was angry, he could not recognize his master and thought him to be an ordinary man. So when we are angry, then intelligence doesn't work properly. And why you become angry? Because some desire has not been fulfilled. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, what is that? Dhyayato vishyan pumsam, sangaste supajayate, sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodho abhijayate. Because when our desire is frustrated, then we become angry. And in that anger, you forget everything. Right? Everything. That anger is so bad. Sometimes, people kill each other. And in anger, they can do so many things to harm other people. So this anger is so bad. It's one short of danger. One letter short of danger. They say like that. D is missing. So anger means danger. Because in anger, yeah, in anger one becomes bewildered. Of course, anger can be used in Krishna's service, but we are not at that level. And anger often overtakes us. So, now not recognizing his master, Jambavan challenged him to fight. Then there was a great fight between Krishna and Jambavan. Sometimes we are angry at God also. Because how can God do this? We are angry at God. Like Chitraketu Maharaj's wife, she was saying, "Oh, Providence, you are so cruel." Yes, but the underlying thing is that Krishna is trying to bring us closer to Him. So they fought, great fight between Krishna and Jambavan, in which they fought like opposing vultures. Whenever there is an eatable corpse, the vultures fight heartily over the prey. There is little share, and everybody wants. Sab bhuke hai. So all the animals, they fight. Krishna and Jambavan first of all fought with weapons, then with stones, then with big trees, then hand to hand, until at last they were hitting each other with their fists. Their blows like the striking of thunderbolts. Each expected victory over the other, but the fighting continued for 28 days, both in daytime and at night, without stopping. They were fighting and fighting and went on. 28 days. So first they fought with weapons, then stones, trees, hand to hand, and with bare hands. Although Jambavan was the strongest living entity of that time, practically all the joints of his body limbs became slackened and his strength was reduced practically to nil. For he was struck constantly by the fists of Sri Krishna. So he was angry and he was fighting with the God. So we also become angry and then we fight, but then we become exhausted. Feeling very tired with perspiration all over his body, Jambavan was astonished. He was thinking, I'm so strong. How did I'm not able to defeat this person? Who was this opponent who was fighting so hard with him? Like Indra, he was trying his might to blow away the hill and kill all the Brajvasis, but nothing was working. Then he realized, who am I dealing with? Jambavan was quite aware of his own superhuman bodily strength, but when he felt tired from being struck by Krishna, he could understand that Krishna was no one else but his worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes when we become tired and then we can accept God. This incident has special significance for devotees. In the beginning, Jambavan could not understand Krishna because his vision was obscured by material attachment. So Jambavan could not understand Krishna is there here because he was attached to his boy and to the greatly valuable Shemantaka jewel, which he did not want to spare for Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying this is a lesson. And Jambavan could not recognize Krishna because he was very attached to his boy and the jewel. In fact, when Krishna came there, he was angry, thinking that Krishna had come to take away the jewel. This is the material position. Although one is very strong in body, that cannot help him understand Krishna. There are many strong people. In a sporting attitude, Krishna wanted to engage in a mock fight with his devotee. Yeah. Comments.
No, I was reminding that verse for Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Tyaprachetasam, right? Those who have like it's a lesson that's already you have said it, and Srila Prabhupada writes that, I mean, how hard and how strong we are materially in the position, and we try to be even many things, technologically and these things and that thing, we try to become happy in this world, but Maya gives that, a kick, that, oh no, because Krishna is there, and we couldn't recognize the Krishna, the Maya in the form many times of sufferings comes up in the life, and then when we exhausted and try keep trying and struggling, and then we look forward, look something else, and then because then we can you know we have some air and space to grab this knowledge of this transcendental knowledge. So one should try to detach from the material things, people. Nobody will. Uh, I mean, people can walk with you, but nobody going to walk for you. Um, so, yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately at the end we'll realize we are all alone. I mean, what can anybody do? I mean, we are helpless in this material nature. So that verse, Balasya neha sharanam pitro narshingo nartasya chagadam udanvati bachatono tat pratividhir. What is that? Ihanja seshtas. Then Narsingha, the Lord Prahlad Maharaj is saying, yes, who can really protect in this world?
Balasya neha sharanam pitaro narsima nartasya chagadam
Udan.
udanvati majito no tapasya uh, tapas tapattasya prativir something 7919.
Yeah, let
I
me
think.
find this. What is the verse?
तनुभृतं यत् उपेक्षितानां
Balasya neha taptasya tat pratividhir ya ihanja sheshtas tavad vipotanupritam tvadupekshitanam. Taptasya means a person suffering from a condition of material misery. Tat pratividhi, pratikar. Pratividhi means counteraction. Ya iha anjasa ishta. So in this material world, we are trying to counteract the misery. But unless approved by the Lord, we cannot become free from the misery. So the whole life is to minimize misery and to maximize happiness. That's everybody's desire.
I've also heard, Prabhuji, that Jambavan had a wish when Rama he wanted to fight with him. So in Dwapara Yuga, Krishna fulfilled his desire to fight with Jambavan.
Yeah. There is also the story of Dvida gorilla, right? That's different, but
Yeah, Viveda Gorilla.
let's see about Jambavan. Jambavan gets good fight from Krishna. We all know that bear king called Jambavan was obedient servant of Lord Ram, and he fought along his side against Ravana. Jambavan was so powerful that when he was young, when the Lord appeared, and when Lord appeared as Vamandev, he expanded himself to take away everything of Bali Maharaj. At that time, Jambavan did 7 parikrama of the Lord in a very short time. This was told by Jambavan to his friends when they wanted to cross over Lanka. So, Jambavan is telling his friends, even on the battlefield in his old age, he just gave one kick to Ravan and Ravan fainted. Such was his strength. In all his life, he never got any strong opponent to fight. and this desire of fighting remained unfulfilled. He told this desire to Lord Ram that Ram, I did not get any suitable match to fight. Ravana also fainted. Lord promised him that he will fulfill his desire in the to fight in next incarnation in Dwapar Yuga, and also told him that when I will defeat you in the fight, that time you will understand who I am. So when the Lord came in all his opulent original form as Krishna, he had a pastime to fulfill the desire of Jambavan. While passing a jungle, he saw a very beautiful woman who was very attracted towards Lord. Lord wanted to marry her, but she was afraid of her father, with whom Lord will have to fight. And her father was none other than Jambavan of Treta Yuga. Well, after this thing, Jambavan offers his daughter in marriage, but here it's saying, Lord accepted the challenge and there was a great fight between the two. Jambavan was tired and exhausted and was surprised with his opponent, still not remembering the Lord, and when finally he fell down, at that time realized what a mistake he had done by fighting with his master. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell at the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord embraced him and in turn Jambavan happily handed over his daughter to the Lord. So that may be this fight. She was none other than Jambavati, one of the 8 dearmost queens of Lord. How merciful Lord is he, ever ready to fulfill smallest desire of his devotees. Only requirement is pure devotion. So even Putana had that. As the daughter or sister of Bali Maharaj, she had that desire to, oh, if I could have a beautiful child like Vaman Dev, so nice, so cute. And then she had another desire to kill Vaman Dev when he became huge. So Krishna will fulfill our desires. That's why we have to be very careful with what we desire. Because our desires will. So we can pray to Krishna. Please don't give me wrong desires. Of course, now the desire is the nature of the soul to desire, right? So can we say that Krishna gave me the desires? Yeah, Krishna can give desires also. He can give buddhi, and through buddhi he can give desires. And Krishna, we can get our own desires also. Like our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna was not Krishna's desire. It's our own desire. That's why we came to the material world. So we have to be careful with what we desire, because Krishna will fulfill those desires. If they are not spiritual desires, there are desires or mixed desires for sense gratification mixed with some spirituality, then we'll get that kind of situation. That's what the demigods get. They are mixed devotees. They have desires for sense gratification mixed with some bhakti. So it's a karma mishra bhakti. So that is mostly it's difficult to find completely pure devotee who is free from all desires for sense. But they are mixed. We are all mixed devotees. We have some desire to perform bhakti, at least for myself, I can't say about. And there is some desire for material happiness and sense gratification, like that. In the sense that we are all attached to our wealth and family and so many things. We like social functions, want to get some happiness. So that's like that. This is the material position. Although one is very strong in body, that cannot help him understand Krishna. Okay, in the sporting attitude, Krishna wanted to engage in a mock fight with his devotee. As we have experienced from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the propensities and instincts of a human being. Sometimes in a sportive spirit, he wishes to fight to make a show of bodily strength. And when he so desires, he selects one of his suitable devotees to give him that pleasure. Krishna desired this pleasure of mock fighting with Jambavan. I don't know how Krishna derives pleasure, because there is no match for Krishna, right? I mean, you can have a real fight when there is, like if you are playing with a small child, right? Then there is no fun, right? Because the small child you can easily defeat in anything, like. But you are playing with your level. So I don't know how Krishna is deriving pleasure from the mock fighting. because he's already very powerful. He's much more powerful. But maybe he forgets, like Krishna wrestles with the cowherd boys and he gets defeated, and then he gets pleasure from carrying Sridham on his back. But Krishna is all powerful. So he has to forget his strength. Otherwise, nobody's any match for Krishna. How can there be any? I was just thinking that way. Although Prabhupada says Krishna desired this pleasure of mock fighting with Jambavan. Although Jambavan was a devotee by nature, he did not know that his opponent was Krishna while giving service to the Lord by his bodily strength. But as soon as Krishna was pleased by the fighting, Jambavan immediately understood that his opponent was none other than the Supreme Lord himself. The conclusion is that he could understand Krishna by his service, for Krishna is sometimes satisfied by fighting also. So now he could understand because he gave a mock fight to Krishna, and then he could understand the Lord. So we say, only through seva, ata Shri Krishna namadi na bhavid grayam indriye, sevan mukhe jivado swayameva suratyada. Jambavan therefore said to the Lord, yeah.
So I was saying that, you were saying that, right? How Krishna is feeling pleasure, where that's not, nobody is complete Krishna, right? So I was thinking that Krishna is the supreme father, right? When father do something in the material world, also a father becomes a horse or something for their kid, for the kids, for the children, and they become happy. So father also feeling a sense of pleasure. So like that, maybe it's because Krishna is a supreme father, and he feels that if their children is desiring something, and he fulfills the desire. So in this way, you can say that.
Yeah, that way, yeah, correct. He's getting pleasure in giving pleasure to his. But here Krishna is desiring mock fight. So, yeah, but in that he's giving pleasure to his devotee. Maybe. Because otherwise, actually, mock fight can be only between equals or something like that. So Krishna has to forget. But like Banasur also said, right? He went to saying that I don't have anybody equal. I want somebody capable of fighting with me. From that point of view, I'm saying, yeah. But you are saying from the devotee's point of view, from Krishna wants to please the devotee and to make the devotee feel that, yeah, he is more powerful than Krishna, or the father may do some mock fight with the child to give pleasure to the child. But that's to give pleasure to the child, not for his own pleasure. But here it seems like that he wants to derive pleasure himself. Of course, in giving pleasure to the child, the father also derives pleasure. Because when the child is happy, then the father is happy also. Like that, maybe. Okay. Jambavan therefore said to the Lord, my dear Lord, how can I can now understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu, the source of everyone's strength, wealth, reputation, beauty, wisdom, and renunciation. This statement of Jambavan's is confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra. So Krishna is the source of everybody's intelligence and strength and everything. Then we may feel like, how can I feel important, right? If I don't possess anything, then how I can feel important? If nothing is mine, like you feel proud when you say it's my car. But if you have borrowed your friend's car and you are driving your friend's car, then you don't feel that pride, right? Because it's not my car. You drive a rental car. You don't feel that much proud because it's not your car. They have just given you on rent, or your friend has lent it to you for a few days. Unless I say, oh, it's my car, then I feel very proud. So Krishna has given us that illusion. So because we want to feel, yeah, it's mine, it's mine. So he has given us that illusion, and then we can feel happy. So Krishna has given that illusion that, oh, this is my child. This is my child. Yeah. My child has done such wonderful things. Yes. And I feel very happy. my child has done this, my child has done that. But then that's not your child, it's Krishna's child. Because the jiva is part and parcel of Krishna, it's not part and parcel of you. You didn't create the jiva, but we become an illusion, and then we say, oh, it's my child has done such a thing, my child got the first prize, and the parents feel very happy. So we wanted that kind of thing. So Krishna has given us that, to think that it is yours, instead of thinking that, because if you think it is Krishna's, then every child is Krishna's child. Why only your child? Every child, your child is Krishna's child and everybody else is. But that, as you were saying, we have created that artificial necessity. Right, as Keshav Maharaj was saying, we create an artificial necessity and then we try to find an artificial solution. So we want to be like in that situation. So we create this kind of civilization where everything is artificially thing, an artificial need for money. And then we say, I have to work very hard because I need money. I don't have time because I have to work very hard. It's an artificial need. We need only so much money, but after that we don't need so much. But it's like artificially. Of course, the world is like that now. What to do? So we create artificial needs, then we try to find artificial solution. That takes all our time, basically. So, as we have experienced from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, that's why it says, don't create. One can be bogged down by the burden of self-created duties. So many duties we create, and then we say, no, I cannot hear about Krishna, I cannot chant Krishna, I cannot serve Krishna because I have no time. You have created so many self-created duties and now you're burdened by it. I expand my business and then I say, no, I have no time because I have now to make money. And if you're giving money to Krishna, it's okay to some degree, but you can't compromise your basic sadhana of chanting and hearing. So, but this is how it happens. So we'll see this in the tomorrow. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much for your association this morning. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very nice.
Thank you.